simply respect. Your answer or your reply should be Ashe. May it be the will of Almighty God. Mojuba Olodumare.
Ashe.
Mojuba Ile.
Ashe.
Mojuba Bakorisha.
Ashe.
Mojuba Bababiyo.
Ashe.
Mojuba Iyabiyo.
Ashe.
Ashe Tilowa.
Ashe.
Modupe Lolo.
Ashe.
We give honor to our God, to the earth,
Ashe.
to the ancestors,
Ashe.
to our mothers and fathers who have passed on.
Ashe.
We ask for a blessing to be upon this house and all the people who are gathered here within it.
Ashe.
We ask for the liberation of our minds, our souls, and our spirits.
Ashe.
That these words and all words pass from us to all of us, no matter where we may be in this world.
Ashe.
We say these things and all things in the name of the great and divine ancestors, for which we all have come.
Ashe.
In the tradition of Africa, the libation ordinarily would be poured on the ground at home. Because we are in a building, the libation is poured in a container. It's taken outside, poured on the ground. It's carried by a youth, that the youth might learn the tradition and continue the tradition when the older ones have gone on. Again, I say good afternoon to you, and we apologize for the late start, but not all things are under our control, but they are in the control of Almighty God. But Almighty God has seen it fit that we do gather here, and our purpose for gathering here be fulfilled. For you are here, Dell is here, and we have a place where we can meet and listen together. We listen to the drum, and we know that the drum, in our tradition, was one of our first forms of long-range communication. Well, we have evolved from the days of the drum, but yet the idea or the principle behind the drum seems to have been lost in our evolution. And so the language of the drum, the usage of the drum, and the fact that the drum had a language that only we knew, and so that when we talked to each other, when other people heard it, they didn't know what was being said. But nowadays we say things so that everybody can understand. But not all things that we should say amongst ourselves should be understood by others. We have a word in Ghana which is sankofa, which means to return back and fetch that which you have lost. It comes from the sankofa bird, which flies from branch to branch, and when it flies to a branch, it looks back at the branch that it was just at. It flies to another branch and it looks back. And so this is what we should do. When we move forward in life, we should always, from time to time, look back to see where we've been. For if we don't know where we've been, we don't know where we're going. But also, if we don't know how we were, then we don't know how we are now. Or we will not realize what we have become. You see, because there are things in this land, in this life, that cause us to forget who we are and to not look at what we've become. And so from time to time, we need those who have the knowledge of what we were and who have the foresight to tell us what we've become, to point these things out to us and to show us those things that have caused us to be what we've become. Today we have the pleasure, we have the grace to be able to listen to one who is able to tell us what we were and what we've become and what things have caused us to be that way. He has been called the war correspondent, and whenever I talk about him, I always say that his language is plain but not profane, because it gets right down to the nitty-gritty. And I'm sure that's what you came here for, the nitty-gritty. Nothing played over, nothing warmed over, but the nitty-gritty. So then, we will give a warm welcome together for our brother, Dell Jones.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here Sorry it was late, but we got lost wandering around in Chester thinking it's Wilmington. The brother said exit 6, and we jumped. Then we couldn't find I-95 South, so thank you. And we born and raised in Philadelphia. I'm ashamed to say that.
Been around the world.
But it's a pleasure to be here. Out of the drum we come, you know. We come out of these beautiful drums. Our people come from a drum. Our life is rhythm. Our rhythm is life. And once you're knocked off that rhythm, your cadence is gone. And we must find it again. Truth is a painful thing, don't you know? Truth is very painful. You have to look it straight in the eye. You can't play with truth. You can't play. Children look at you strange when your behavior contradicts your philosophy. When your behavior contradicts your philosophy. And our children get too much of that, you know. So we're here to deal with the annihilation of African image. But first, before we even start to talk about that, I want to do a state of the race for the year 1994, June 1994. We must always look at the state of the race. First look at the state of the race, and then we'll deal with how we got there. There are many, many forces against us. And how is it that we can't see these forces? It's because we're made blind, deaf, and dumb because of the theft of our culture. So it's a privilege to be here with you, surrounded with so much culture and so much of our way. Malcolm used to say you need to get in the closet. He said talk plain. And when you come out of the closet, you can do what you got to do. But you got to get in that closet, and this closet is comfortable. It's a beautiful place. It's my first time here, and it's a good way to spend a Saturday. To deal with the state of the race, we'll stop first in Africa, in Somalia. Let's stop in a place and understand that place in its briefness. Let's look at that ancient land as a place that the CIA had put a dictator there that was removed by the masses of our people, removed forcibly. Even though he had the whole Western powers behind him, he was removed. But then they did not allow another government to come up. Another government that would serve the people. That's why you have misery in Somalia, because they will not allow a government to take power over the land, labor, and resources of our people for the common good of the masses. So with that excuse, they then send in the Marines with a crust of bread, see? We'll get our own bread. We'll feed ourselves. We didn't need any Marines. But there was a blockade around Somalia to make sure no food substances got there. And babies died. No matter what happened, white people make babies die. Never forget that. White people make babies die. All you need to do is turn on CNN and they hold our babies up like chickens. Like chickens. Dying. When that message gets to you in the United States, that baby is dead. So this ain't no joke. And anybody playing with it as if it's a joke is out of step. But they need to be brought to the family. Because all the information is molested. Thank you very much. All the information is molested. Where will you find the truth, you know? You can't find it. We must dig it up. We must create it. We must serve our people with the truth. And then we will devise the strategies and tactics to get out of this dope jam. In Somalia, the blood will run. But the brothers and sisters did a heroic thing. They chased the American army out. They chased the American army out. They chased the American army out. But Dan Rather will read it another way. Huh? Connie Chung will read it another way. And say, well, after our humanitarian effort is over, the people didn't appreciate us, so we going home. No, we start dragging your soldiers around. Because we have been invaded too many times not to know what an invasion is. They think we're stupid. We know what an invasion is. It comes with guns and boots, and murder and control, and death and rape. We know what an invasion is since the Arabs invaded us many, many moons ago. Everybody has been taking their turns invading Africa. So that's what Somalia was about, revolution. Black people trying to take control of their lives and feed their babies. Educate their babies, deliver the health care, deliver the culture, deliver the religion, deliver self-determination. But you will not hear that. So our people then, understanding that, are not stupid. To be brainwashed is not stupidity, it's to be victimized. So we can't look down at our people because they do not know. We must educate and have patience with our people. After the North American experiences, they've been driving us insane every day. Their education system, their mass media, their songs, their television drives us stark raving mad. So Malcolm says, you break my legs and call me a cripple. We understand that. Let's bring our people along. They don't understand Somalia because there is no information for them to put together any thought process and do any critical thinking. It's all emotionalism. We come to feed the niggers, and they don't appreciate it. They shoot us down. That's Somalia. In South Africa, revolution has not come to South Africa. We're in worse condition now than we ever was. Because they got a blackface card now. People, I used to ask them, for 20 years I asked them, who is Nelson Mandela? Well, he's the brother in jail in Africa. No, Holmes. Who is he? What is his philosophical and ideological basis? How African-centered is he? Is he controlled by Joseph Slovo and the Communist Party of South Africa? Does he interface with De Beers diamonds? Who is Nelson Mandela? We have to do critical thinking, but the mass media sets up to make us do emotional thinking. Therefore, when Nelson Mandela is relieved, remember, he was kept as a trump card. So that if things got bad, they'll bring you Nelly Mandela to give you neo-colonialism. They beat Steve Biko immediately, knowing he would not compromise. And the many, many nameless. See, we always throw names, but what about the nameless? Bob Marley used to tell me, Dell, what about the half that hadn't been told, and we come to say it? That Nelson Mandela is not because it's anything personal. It's never personal. You ever wonder why our children like the mafia pictures? Because they always say it's business, it's not personal. It's not personal. Nelson Mandela is now interacting with them. How in the world are you not locking people up for war crimes and we got all that dead? Centuries of dead.
That's right.
Centuries of rape. The slaughter of children in Soweto. Sharpsville. And on in every burrow and every crack and crevice. In our land they raped and destroyed us. And you tell me they can stay there? What positive do they bring to the party? If you're gonna stay there, what is it positive that they bring to the party? Death and murder. And money. They hook up to the monetary system. Now let's understand South Africa, because we're going to look at the state of the race. South Africa, first of all, I'll be one of the few people to tell you, we are winning the war. You don't need to devise a new world order if the old world order is working. See? What is their philosophy? Don't reinvent the wheel. Well, we broke that wheel. How? In Angola? Namibia, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Zambia, we had South Africa surrounded. And to take down South Africa, you break down the economic system of the whole Western world. You break down their nuclear capabilities because that's where the raw materials come from. You take away their industry because that's where the raw materials come from. You take away the space program, because that's where the raw materials come from. Southern Africa. 90% of it. So because we don't have the information, we can't do any critical thinking. We can't put one to one together and come up with two. Because everything is jumbled because they're singing our song. And those traitors, blacks, are nothing but traitors feeding us the same lie. All of them. That's why I refuse to call myself a journalist or a reporter. All of them treason. The information is there and they know it. The politicians know it. The people having a meeting in Baltimore know it.
That's right.
They're trying to get back in the game. Just like Malcolm said, they tried to get into the March on Washington, they had nothing to do with it. Well, they have nothing to do with the African-centered movement. And now they're trying to interject themselves with that same filth. Traitors, politicians, run by all sorts of secret orders. Controlled by white supremacy. You ever wonder why they deliver nothing unto us? They're controlled by white supremacy. So the new young people pay them no mind. They don't know them, don't want to know them. They know they failed, and they're setting up their own systems. The African-centered movement doesn't allow them. Jesse Jackson will never be African-centered. Never. He looks down at Africa. He has a white man's consciousness. He's a trained pit bull, a political terrorist that grabs hold of our children's legs and gnaws and gnaws and gnaws. John Henry Clark at that meeting in Baltimore, what did he say? He said South Africa will never be free until the blood run. Because my elder tell the truth, he ain't no joke. All praises. Jesse Jackson popped up like a piece of toast. Whoa, freeze! No, wait a minute. It doesn't have to be the, how did they get the land? Murder, bloodshed, Malcolm tell me. And we don't want to make bloodshed, we want the land, and you ain't giving it back. So however we got to get it, our young people must be delivered a future by us. No one else can do it. So in South Africa, if the land does not change hands, there's been no revolution. I don't care if it's Mandela, I don't care who it is. If the land hasn't changed, if the resources of the people don't solve their problems in their homeland, there's been no revolution, there's been no change. White people loosen up to get a tighter grip. And just like they used the neo-colonialists like Wilson Goode in Philadelphia to bomb his own community and burn his own babies alive, feel no shame. See, you're talking about another animal. When you talk about a neo-colonialist, you're talking about, when you're talking about Boulette, you're talking about another animal. Don't even try to rationalize why people do what they do. And it's not a condition that only black people have. Didn't they have Benedict Arnold and Alcea traders? Didn't whites sell guns to the red man to slaughter white people? Didn't they just lock up a CIA man for giving away all the secrets? So every race has its traitors. No problem. Isolate them, move on them, and keep moving. We get emotional. We say, oh, he don't know. That's like saying O.J. Simpson didn't know his wife was white. That's like saying he didn't know. O.J., we get sympathetic. He put himself in that trap when he moved away from the African family. That's right. Michael Jackson put himself in that trap when he started working for white supremacy. Selling their products, pushing American pop culture all over this globe to increase the marketplace for American products, all sorts of McDonald's and Wendy's and Nikes and all sorts of foolishness. See? So if Mandela cannot deliver land, labor, resources to the people who own the land, he is not on our side. End of the discussion. There's nothing else to say. 27 years in jail, that's unfortunate. Away from U.S.A. children, that's unfortunate. A lot of people were killed. But it's not emotional. We have to deliver these young people tomorrow. I can't get emotional and say, well, you know the reason why you ain't got freedom is because I went for some more of their tricks. It's time to stop going for their tricks. South Africa's not free. Man, it's going to see blood. Because if I can make this deduction, you know they can. When I was in Southern Africa, we went to Zimbabwe to study the problem in Southern Africa. Because as a war correspondent, you have to go in the eye of the storm. You know, you can't sit back from Ivory Tower and say, you know what I think you niggas should do? We got too many intellectuals around here. We need grassroots kids in the eye of the storm and run back, boogity, boogity, boogity. Tell the truth. Say, listen, I talked to the brothers from the Black Consciousness Movement, I talked to the brothers of PAC, and I talked to some renegades from the ANC, and they ain't going out like that. You think it's over? You think it's over? It's not over. Then the blood will run. But blood is a cleansing process. I'm not bloodthirsty. I want peace. Malcolm taught me to talk their language. And to talk their language, I have to get back what you took from me the same way you took it. You didn't pray for it and get it. In Rwanda, they have always, look, these people are good. White supremacy is good. From here to Rwanda, we got more excuses to rumble each other as excuse not to rumble them. More excuses. Oh, we're in a different ethnic group. Oh, we got a different religion. Oh, he's tall, he's short. Oh, they think they cute. Oh, he thinks he's strong. Oh, he got it all. Oh, he's all that. We got more excuses to hacking and butchering and killing. That's inspired. But we're not unique. See, African people have a tendency to think we're unique. There's something wrong with us. Then something must be wrong with the people who fought in the Vietnam War. South Vietnam against North Vietnam. North Korea against South Korea.
Yeah.
Bosnia, huh? Croatia, huh? White people, right?
That's right.
So mankind, because he negated the Africans long ago, because we are the humans, you meaning color, took all that humanistic stuff, threw it out the way. That's what we're recapturing. Okay? So therefore, everybody in the world rumbles each other. And don't see the tricks that the manufacturers, the businessmen, the capitalists are stealing everything. And everybody's rumbling. Matter of fact, when I feel tired, I turn on CNN to see white people shoot each other. But nobody says white on white crime, do they? The only time you hear is black on black crime. In the Asian community, when they rumble each other, nobody say yellow on yellow crime. No, it's just black on black crime. So we got to do some critical thinking. You know, our people like to watch those mob pictures. What's that? Italiano on Italiano and Jew on Jew. Huh? So we ain't no different than nobody else. We're trying to pull it together. The only thing we the only people can prove that we moved and grooved in a humanistic culture, build societies, and roll that way. I know the Soviet Union couldn't survive. White people can't roll that way. They can't share nothing. Nothing. And it was a matter of time that Khan gained. What is communism? Communism is the study of Marx and them, of African communalism, and trying to adapt it to industrial Germany and Russia.
That's right.
But it's alien to their culture. They got the culture of 666. It's alien. They try, white people, the liberals, some of them, I want to be, that's why they groove towards you. I want to be like you. How do y'all move so mellow? How your vibe so nice? Even in the condition you in, you better than we are. How? Can I get next to your magic? No. You know, not unless you can buy some melon. You know, some melanin and shoot it right to your brain and then jump in the fire. You know? In Rwanda, our people are dying. Butchering and slaughtering each other over the trickyology of white supremacy, continuing to control the land, labor, and resources. In Liberia, there's no government in Liberia. Black people are dying. This is the state of the race in Africa, all over the Africa. And that's because we lost in the 60s when Nkrumah was couped. Sekou Touré is gone. And what started out as the African Revolution turned into a neo-colonial revolution, meaning that you're using the indigenous people to oppress themselves. Like all these black mayors and congressmen and all that old simple stuff. That's the state of Africa, you know. We don't control nothing. Now they're trying to beat you to Africa. Since you're African-centered, you're going home. You're going to connect. You have to make the linkages to home. So they send, what's his name? Leon Sullivan and them running over there, boogity, boogity, boogity. For General Motors, though.
Yeah.
Pretending they got a Pan-African program to continue to steal the land, labor, and resources of the people to make sure our people can never get out of the jam that they're in. And this is the state of the race in the islands in Jamaica. One American dollar is worth 35 Jamaican dollars. When I first went to Jamaica in the late 70s, that's when the CIA, under a guy named George Bush, start counterfeiting Jamaican money and destroying the economy. They start starting wars and rumors of wars, political wars between the JLP and the PNP. Two people, what's his name? Michael Manley, Edward Siaga, none of them marrying to the African grassroots. And the blood ran. They took Jamaica to keep it as their tourist attraction. Just like they had Cuba before Fidel and them rolled in.
That's right.
They don't party in Cuba no more. They don't gamble in Cuba no more. They hate Cuba no more. How did Cuba get Cuba? They took it. But right now in the islands, Cuba is on the brink. I was in Grenada about 6 weeks before the invasion. All our people wanted, had no great national resources, was some space and time to develop their children, to develop their economy, to educate their people, to perpetuate their culture and religions. That's all they wanted. And they bum rushed them. And half of that army that bum rushed them was Africans from the States. Brave because we did our job, our children are used to kill their own brothers and sisters. You ever hear the story in Grenada? When they first put them on the plane, they sat there and the first thing they told them, this is not, I repeat, this is not an exercise. This is the real thing. Give them live ammo. Where are we going? Where are we going? Shut up! Because we allowed them to get in a situation. You know, when they killed the draft, I never dreamed there would ever be another black soldier. I underestimated the mental side that's whipped on us. Now they tell you, if you want to go to college, come in the service first. That don't make no sense. The poorer you are, the higher your grant. The easier your loan. That doesn't make, nobody stand up and say, that don't make sense. Bill Gray ain't telling them, and he's head of the Negro College Fund. But I don't want no more Negroes. So what they're doing, they were on the plane, and they said, okay, everybody stand up, lick up, and they all were crisscross. Jump, 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 jump. And when they land down, they shoot, die, 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 die. They say, run, there's one behind the bushes. Damn, like, wait a minute. Did you see he had dreadlocks? Where are we? I thought we was in the Middle East. I thought we was in Lebanon. They don't even tell our children where they drop them to die for white supremacy. Now that's unacceptable. But no one's speaking of that. They had this great thing in Baltimore. Did anybody talk about the misuse of our children by white supremacy against their own interests? No. Stay talking about nothing but bull. Or how we gonna stay on top and keep the niggas behind us so we can get crumbs off the table. Nobody told them that how they use our kids in Panama to kill their own people. How they send them to Desert Storm to die and then bomb them and disease them, then use drugs on them to test to see the outcome. Didn't we remember Agent Orange in Vietnam? We got collective amnesia. We do not pass this on to the children, so how would they know? Then we turn around and say the children ain't nothing but gangsters and skeezers. It ain't fair. We ain't fair to our young people as a community. Now the people in this room may be, but as a people, we're not fair to our children. We tell them babies are having babies, as if they're the first ones to have the babies at 16 and 15. As if that never happened again before. As that never happened in other communities. Instead of organizing to deal with the problem, we start saying, y'all ain't no good. You're not having this baby at 15. How could you not have a baby? Any child that don't have a baby, 50 after that media diet of MTV and BET and VH1, after their movies, I'm talking about television, naked bodies everywhere. You turn on television, you see 5, 6 people screwing within 3 or 4 hours. Then on the other side of the coin, you see violence, head and beheading, and you notice they perpetuate rape. They show, who wants to sit for their entertainment and watch someone be raped? Come on. That makes you a barbarian. But that comes from a culture of people who sat in arenas and said, that one must die. That one must die. That's not our culture. So we must teach our own culture as you are doing here. Because that wasn't part. Have pain and rape and murder and beheadings for entertainment. Think of that now. This is your television. Turn on. What are you going to say? I had a hard day at the office today. What are you doing today? I'm going to sit down and watch some entertainment to chill. What do you want to see? Predator and Terminator. Blood running down your jaw. No one looks at that. No one questions, is that healthy? Is that healthy? Then when you hear the little Tommy caught a bullet in the brain, caught between 2 drug dealers, you don't feel it. And he who feels it knows it. You don't feel it. When they hold that baby up like a chicken, you don't feel it. How is it you don't feel it? It's because we have to come back to the source. And this, like many places I travel around, is where you're coming back to the source, where you begin to get back in touch with yourself and feel it. And move and groove into the future, African-centered, clear on what you have to do. Clear on your culture, clear on your religions, clear on ideology. All then we need is the information. We need to set up a diet of information that serves this new consciousness and not play with it. Yeah, they all jumped out of those planes and then they start firing and firing and killing people they don't know for a reason they don't understand. See? Think of that now. That's extraordinary. Thinking we could get white people to kill all other white people just because we wanted them to. Oh man, we'd be like, yeah, kill. Britain get France. Well, they'll do it anyway because they had 100 years war. 100 years, they taught us that. I would be ashamed to tell somebody I had 100 years war. 100 years war between Britain and France, yeah. 100 years, was anybody keeping score? Who was counting? I mean, what was the objective? No, it tells me from an African consciousness that you're warlike.
That's right.
And lack of war is abnormal to you. So telling you peace won't help. Overwhelming you with your capacity to love won't help. Footing behind is the only thing that'll do it. But that only comes to a consciousness. So as they fought in Grenada, and they moved on down the road, they start saying, you know, I think we're in South Africa. Yeah, Black, I don't know what we're going to do. Not until they passed the sign that we used to pass every day, say, welcome to the revolutionary government of Grenada, that they know that they were in Grenada. And you know what happened? They turn to each other and say, Grenada, where's that? That's sad commentary on us, you know. You know. In Haiti, they're still punishing the Haitians for kicking Napoleon's butt.
That's right.
They'll never forget that. They couldn't do it. He ran it in Ireland. He got his butt beat so bad he had to come up with the Louisiana Purchase, which was about 5-6 states. Say, here, take it. Just give me some money. I want out of here. Because there ain't no niggas in Europe. I'm going to fight the Russians, man. I don't want no parts of them. We have to teach our children why they hate Haitians so much. Talking about, we scared of voodoo. They weren't scared of voodoo. They were scared of the warrior. The warrior could be voodoo. He could be of any religion. The African warrior, when fighting for himself and his people and his family, is the ultimate warrior. I don't care whether it's Shaka Zulu or Sister Queen Nzinga. When the Africans fighting for themselves, ain't no joke. When we're clear, that's why they spend so much time keeping us confused. In Latin America, in Panama, in Black Holocaust I deal with in Panama, that was all about drugs. When Noriega, who was a CIA agent, who was running Panama, refused to let them to continue to use the Bank of Panama to launder drug money, then they went into the people's country and arrested the head of state. Now think of that, man. That's almost like nobody does any critical thinking. They're telling Korea, North Korea, you got nuclear weapons, give them up. That's like you coming to me and saying, Dell, you got a Magnum in your house, I want it. Come get it, Holmes. How can you tell me what I can have in my house and we act like this is a legitimate discussion? See, our people are so confused that they think these are legitimate, and why do you act like this is legitimate? You got a nuclear bomb. Yeah, uh-huh. We want to come in and inspect it and destroy it. Yeah, right. And then who's going to take care of me? The UN. They say, right. Right, sport. Right. Well, why won't you let me do it? What you scared of? No. Do you know the white man's more deadly at the negotiating table than he is at the battlefield? Because when you start kicking his butt, he says, hold on, wait a minute, freeze. Wait a minute, man, hold on. What if I gave you this and you gave me that and you give me... He had the Maroons in Jamaica capturing other blacks and sending them back. And they were blacks who escaped. Check your history book. They can talk us into some amazing stuff. So no discussion should be in order. What are we discussing? Can you give us our land back? Can you give us our resources back? And can you then punish yourself by slitting your own throat? Oh, I know. Well, then, we have the answer to all of your hang-ups, and we shall tell you, war. That's all you can say. Because he's saying, I'm raising my children to control your children just like I controlled you. And I'm saying, no, you ain't. So what is the discussion point from there on? It's understanding clearly that in Panama, they invaded the state, stole the head of state, took him away, locked him up in their jail. Now think about it now. That's some awesome power. Thanks, bro. That's some awesome power. I come in you, that's like me reaching in your pocket and grabbing a $10 bill. And you said, man, get out of my pocket, get out of my pocket. I said, no, come on, man. Share, 5 and 5. Why would I give you $5? Mama, just because you had the nerve to reach in my pocket. It's just critical thinking, that's all it is. In Nicaragua, they play that game where when you going to have democratic elections. And they forced them to have elections and they lost, but still the Sandinistas control the countryside. But why did they ever have an election? How can you know how they talk you into things? They control the money. There's no African currency. There's no so-called Caribbean currency. I don't like to use that word because carrot means wild and cannibal. Okay? So we call it the islands, so as long as you know what I'm talking about. There's no African currency and there's no currency in the islands that is used on the world market. Everything must be converted to the mark, to the dollar, to the yen, to the pound, anything but African money. And because of neo-colonialism in Africa, and because of soft punks in the United States, nobody questions that. Because they stealing the money from the people. Almost every government has somebody that need to be removed. In Brazil they have a kill quota, where they have homeless blacks on the street, and if you kill a black child and bring 2 ears, you collect a bounty. No black writer is writing that. My wife wrote an article on it. No of them. None of them. Wow, I mean, what does Jesse and them say? You mean you think I got more information than they do? They're not concerned. Now here in the belly of the beast, we've been to Africa, we've been to the islands, we've been to Latin America to see the state of the race, see? Here in the belly of the beast, they're trying to control the African-centered movement. We're moving and grooving right into their world. They know that once you become African-centered, liberation is just around the corner. They know that we can influence the rest of the race, so they begin to take you out with crack and AIDS. Biological, chemical warfares. I call it the invasion of the body snatchers. When they actually can go in your body and kill you. Crack inside the body. AIDS inside the body to break down the greatest immune system known to mankind. If I fed you, if I was white, and I fed you pig feet, pig guts, pig knuckles, breadfruit with no nourishment, and you wind up dunking basketballs without looking and doing double dutch and doing hand jobs, I would be scared of you. That's why they had to come up with a higher form of killing. And they said, no, we have to take these people out. We know historically the type of societies and some civilizations they have built. We know if they ever get on top again, we're done. So we must confuse them. In the belly of the beast, crack, AIDS, homelessness, wars of wars. But there's the invasion of the body snatchers with crack inside the body, AIDS inside the body, Prozac inside the body, given to the depressed. And they cause the depression. See? Ritalin given to children inside the body. Norplant inside the body. All kinds of things and vaccinations. Inside the going inside. We actually let the enemy inside our body. Because he know he can't beat you, but he can outmaneuver and trick you because he controls the flow of information. So the arguments over Ritalin and the violence initiative being used against black children is not heard. And then they keep us outside. The talk shows won't allow you on, especially the black ones. Oprah talking about women with big busts. Next on Oprah. How I lost my weight. Next on Oprah. No news, none of the time. No information none of the time. And that's why they give her millions. Because they knew she hated you. See, a requirement to make money in this society is to hate your own people. When they took Oprah and put her traveling around, she aggressively attacked anybody who would even question whether colored purple was fair. I don't know what you're talking about. This, oh, we can use her. Who's that? Well, that's Oprah Winfrey. And who's that other one who played in color purple? We can use her. What's her name? Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi. We can use her. Whoopi converted to be a Jew. Did you know that she was a converted European Jew? That's why she's paid. That's why she said, Sammy Davis Jr. taught me. Okay? So when Ted Dancer talked about her like a dog, like an animal, he talked about her like he was Snoop Doggy Dogg. Because Snoop Doggy talked worse than Ted Dancer. You know? But Snoop Doggy Dogg isn't born, he's created by the mass media.
That's right.
And they teach our children, if you say the most foul things about your women, we will get you paid. If you talk political, you will starve. And this is that the children ain't simple, okay? So when you come on with the Snoop Doggy Dogg, these people are created. And then they'll give them all the exposure every other minute. And what did Snoop Doggy Dogg's video talk about? The same things that defeated us in the 70s. I'm a child of the 60s and the 70s. And what defeated us was the mass media counterattacking the African-centered movement. See, historically, we got to understand that. This ain't the first time the African movement was moving in full effect. We will always move to Africa, just like every time you straighten your hair, it's going to go back to Africa.
All right.
So we'll always go back to Africa. You will always. So, what is Snoop Doggy Dogg promoting? Pimps and prostitutes. Jim Brown and Hammer. Pam Grier. All the people who destroyed the movement before, and nobody's making the analysis. You know? Good times and happy days and all these are in this video, the dramatics. Snoop Doggy, oh, talking about your Snoop. Talking about your Snoop. Who is this Snoop that somebody should be talking about? Little soft punk that we can't step to? You mean we can't step? We step to something, somebody step on our toe, we ready to fight. You mean we can't corner Snoop Doggy Dogg and Martin? You mean we can't step to them punks? See, the movement's gonna get there, not yet. Maybe I'm ahead of the cake. The movement's gonna get there. Because I remember in the 60s, we used to tie people up and hang them upside down and paint them white. And then boogity, 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 boogity. Who did that? I don't know. You know? We used to know how to roll on. We had James Brown cut his process. Sammy Davis Jr.'s had a natural. See, that's called coercion for cohesion in a culture. You go too far outside this culture and serve the other culture, we're going to move on you. And it's going to come to that, but we're still studying, you know? Homelessness. Come on now. How could we possibly be in a village and have, oh, what the heck is homelessness? It's an alien concept to the African. But yet in this mental state that we're in, we step over the bodies. You mean a sack of beans and a sack of rice don't feed a whole lot of people? It always did. You mean you can't knock in boarded up buildings as a people, as an organization, as a community, and put people in boarded up houses? You mean people can lay on the curb and there'll be a boarded up building and we won't break down that building and put the people in the building? We wait for the government who put them on the street to put them in the building? Don't make sense. There's no critical thinking being done. It's not logical because they educate our children. That's why in Philadelphia we have a school called the Academy of the Way. And more schools are popping up all over. Once you start educating your own, it's all over but the shouting. Find our way. Our way. So it all in the belly of the beast, we are confused. The mass media keeps us confused. You must see a converted attack. They say, let's move on the black woman. What better way to move on the black woman? Give her her own seed. Let's get these young so-called comics on Def Jam Comedy. Let's get them on Apollo. Let's get them on Living Color. Let's get them on Martin. Let's get them on Living Color. And let's portray the worst elements of black people. Let's have comics stand up and say, your mother's so black and ugly, and your mother's lips so big, look like she got on a turtleneck sweat, and your mother, we tolerate that. Your mother,
That's right.
In the 70s, we decided anybody talking about anybody's mother, everybody bum rush that person.
That's right.
Everybody. You see, because that's everybody's mama. They on there, I mean, and the kids be laughing and no one's correcting them. He said, Watoto, gather around. Let me correct you. Didn't I teach you who the African woman was? Yeah, well, don't let them sway you. Turn it off. But more importantly, teach them to make the analysis. You have some bad young people on your hands. But they have to start then. You know? So what we have is two things. All around the world, it's the colonial mentality brought to you by their religions. All of them. Every last one of them that belong to them. Colonial mentality, their education system, their mass media, their culture, and their control of the economics. So in Africa, the worst people get educated. The worst people who find that they know that they will be loyal, take a name like Joseph Mobutu, try to change his name to an African name, Mobutu Sisi. We said, no, your name is Joe. When you slaughter African people, you Joe. And Joe, when we get you, we're gonna scuff you. You know what his wife's name was? Mademoiselle, I forgot it. It was, it'll come back to me. It's unbelievable. It was after some white woman. I forgot, some French white woman. That was his wife's name. And that's how he act. In Zaire, people are starving, have no educational system. They haven't built a hospital since Lumumba died. That's 30-something years ago. So the colonial mentality, meaning that they taught those who they colonized to hate themselves so much that they emerged a class that would oppress the other 99% and destroy them and deliver the resources and the labor to Western society while black children died. Here we suffer from what I call culture banditry, where they take all your culture, redefine it, repackage it, and say, could you imagine, say Bonnie Raitt is king of the blues, queen of the blues? They give you the blues, and then they turn around and steal the blues. You create culture out of anything, you know? They give you disco, they control jazz. Kenny G's the king of jazz. Marky Mark, Snow, Beastie Boys, king of rap. Everything. You know, it's very important to understand culture banditry is their ability to steal your culture, repackage it, or either isolate the liberating elements and just push out the negative part. And that's what we're locked in. So abroad, if we're going to make the linkages, we know they have a colonial mentality. We know the masses of our people suffer from culture banditry. What that delivers to the collective consciousness of African people globally is the inability to see the Black Holocaust. You totally don't see it. Our people don't see it. Dying all around you. Stepping over bodies in the hood. Huh? Cracking age people withering away and dying. Large amounts of our children in jail. Holocaust, crack, and AIDS. All around us, and we don't see it as a Holocaust. I don't believe in arguing with no Jews about nothing. Nothing. Because the more we argue, they look bigger than life. They're just white people. And they're part and parcel of white supremacy. No dialogue with you, it's straight up war. But a lot of good scholarship has been done by some very good brothers and sisters. A lot of standing up. You know what I'm saying? To say who done what historically, and we have the evidence. So that's how Africans are underdeveloped. We are underdeveloped because we don't control nothing dealing with our own lives. Nothing. Nothing. My son and my daughter had me cracking up. They wanted something to eat, but they don't know the process of eating because we live in the urban centers. So if we didn't have grocery stores, how would we eat? We have to go on back, all the way back to the roots.
That's right.
Because if you understand life, If you understand nourishment and everything, you'll understand life. And it'll all come around. The control of the land, labor, of resources of people of color is in the hands of white people. The control of economics, education, health, and communications are in the hands of white people. There is no way with this same mass media diet you would not come out with so-called gangsters and skeezers. And I always, when I talk to young people, I always say, you're not no gangster. Yes, I am. I'm a G. I say, gangsters don't wear sneaks. Gangsters wear suits and ties. Gangsters is called Meyer Lansky and Bugsy Siegel, Al Capone and Frank Nitti. You ain't invent no drive-by. That was Al Capone and them. But our children now have that logo as if we invented that. As if some guy on the corner playing the curb is an actual gangster. See what the media can do? It refines terms, and they're called wise guys now. Or the Teflon Don, like Gotti. And we're the gangster Godfather. They control everything. The key is the control of information. So, our response to oppression, tyranny, and terror is to seize our religion. Our story must be told through ourselves, and we're doing, all these things are being done. You are examples of it being done. So the race is moving forward. I went on a tour from here all the way down to Miami. And groups like this was meeting and dealing and wheeling. We got to connect the dots. But first, and let's not, oh man, my next book that I'm working on is called The Cult of Personality. You know, we sit around waiting for the cult of personality. Jesus, please come down and smite them. After 20 centuries, Jesus told you you're on your own. The ancestors, the gods say, you have gotten everything you need to free yourselves. There will be no divine intervention. Plus, I don't want nobody to intervene. This is a job where you want to get your hands dirty. You know, at night, if you tilt your head outside, you can hear the wail of the ancestors. You can hear the pain. You can hear the rape. And they only want for us to deliver unto our children a better day than we had. Now, this may seem like a bad scenario that I've given you, but the scenario is not as bad as African have seen. The worst scenario, when they could knock on your door and tell you, send your wife upstairs, I feel frisky. Send your 13-year-old daughter up, I want to break her in. Send me your son, I'm a freak. If our ancestors delivered unto us this day, it's to avenge that and to build a tomorrow. We must control our religion, our story, our image, our goals and objectives, and our own worldview. Our images are annihilated. That's why Culture Bandits 2 is called the annihilation of African image. Everywhere you go, the African woman is really under siege. The African man is really under siege. When your children start walking around with their drawers showing, their pants down, their shoulders old, going through the hood like this, that should be an indicator to move in full effect. That should be clear. When they cut them videos that our children watch from can't see to can't see, look at the young boys, look at it with them, in dark, dank, dreary corridors, ghettos with chainsaws. They don't kill people with chainsaws. See, we become other people's fantasy. Now, Freddy Krueger and them may deal like that. Jeffrey Dahmer may deal like that. Gary Heidnik may deal like that. You know? We begin to pick up the image other people want us to have. So undetected the Holocaust goes, so therefore we don't move into action. We don't devise strategies and tactics. We debate whether there's a Holocaust. The reason I wrote Black Holocaust, I had written Culture Bandits 1. I was traveling around in every city by then saying, Brother Dell, you really think they're trying to kill us? I said, yeah, all right. And I go into every city, Brother Dell, they can't kill us all. I said, well, where are the Arawaks of the so-called Caribbean islands? Where are the Kalinagos of the so-called Caribbean islands? They killed them all and replaced them with Africans. Where's the red man here? He ain't on no reservation. He's on a concentration camp. So they've already done it. And that little skirmish they had with them Jews was nothing but white on white crime. We had nothing to do. You see how amazing they're trying to make you responsible for that? Do you know people don't know that Marcus Garvey went to the League of Nations after World War II petitioning the League of Nations for the lands of the Germans to repatriate black people? Namibia, Southwest Africa, and you know, different colonies they had. Well, the so-called Jews, which was really Zionists, did it after World War II. And they were first going to give them Uganda when they decide they better put them up closer to Africa so they can help with that traffic up there. And them and the South Africans, Israel and South Africa, had the diamonds for gun trade. Now, have you ever noticed the Jews call themselves what? After precious material that they're nowhere near. They believe they are Goldstein, Goldsmith, Silverstein. Am I wrong? They think they the stuff. But all of that was coming out of Africa. And who are the greatest diamond cutters in the world? Allegedly. Them. Because they're the only ones allowed to cut diamonds. It's all in motion. But as soon as we understand the Holocaust, I would like us to function as if we are under a Holocaust. That puts the race on alert. In every city I go into, almost every time, nurses come to me saying, Dell, you should see what's going on in the emergency wards. They're allowing young black men to die and have a vat of ice here, a vat of ice there for their livers, their kidneys, their hearts, their brains. They're using us for spare parts. The governor of Pennsylvania has a 24-year-old black man's heart and kidney. You know? Yeah, they say every day that blackness start rumbling in his chest and beating all up his liver. They say he might reject it. And they say he's got a taste for chitlins. Neocolonial leadership abroad, culture bandits, traitor politicians here. Now, the movement must come from the people. The definition of revolution or a revolutionary is the people in arms. It's not Jesus coming again. It's not waiting for Malcolm to come again. It's not waiting for Martin to come again. It's not waiting for Garvey to come again. Matter of fact, that tactic does not even work. We need to work on the local levels and begin to help and develop institutions, economics, you know, healthcare locally. And have local leaders, and then you come together in a confederation where every area has spokespeople, and we move on a process that's known to us, communalism. We connect the dots. But we got leaders that jump up and say, I be's the leader. No, you be's the leader. Well, Farrakhan, you shouldn't have said it. Well, you shouldn't have said that. Well, he shouldn't have said that about them Jews. And they sit there arguing, and the people looking there and say, well, that's right. Come on, man, I'm dying. National leaders, we're the only people who have religious people and athletes as our leaders. Religious man is a religious man. You know? We need to come up on grassroots. Our problems are solvable now. They're solvable. A hungry person is solvable. And he's in the village, you mean he's not out in the wilderness? You mean there's hungry people here and that's not solvable? It is solvable. Medical attention to all these skills we got? You mean we only turn on and off our skills if white people hire us? And if we're unemployed, we stand on the corner sipping on a St. Ives waiting for white people to come organize our labor. It's all in the thinking. And when we bring that thinking home, and we are bringing it home, and in Chicago, at AT&T, a lot of brothers and sisters who were working on the new highway information invited me to come and speak at their Black History program. And AT&T said, whoa, now wait a minute. They said, no, this is our program. Black History, we want our money. And we will talk about the Holocaust. They said, oh, wait a minute. No. So they brought me into Chicago, put me in this big hotel. See, I'm the hood. I'm not used to that. I'm calling room service. Hey, never mind. Room service, hey, white boy, never mind. Hey, would you bring me some water? Hey, this is fat. For a minute, you know. And when we went to do the lecture, we found out that these talented brothers and sisters, and as you travel to universities, are getting their thing together. Say, yes, I'm an A student. That's why they have Family Matters to say, if you're an A student, you got to be a nerd. Be cool and broke and backward. So if you're smart, you're Urkel. See, they have a reason for everything they create. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that we understand our situation. We need creativity, imagination, courage, pride, and discipline. That'll deliver us anything. We can feed hungry people. We can house people as organized people. As long as the village is unorganized, they'll pick you off one at a time. And there's nobody immune. We could have the most dynamic children in the world. Somebody else's crazy child take them out. So we have biological and non-biological children. They all belong to the village, you know, and it takes a village to raise a child. With the creativity, imagination, courage, pride, and discipline, we can build an economic infrastructure for ourselves. We can build the education units for ourselves. School is a teacher and a student. How is it that during the Revolutionary Wars in Cuba, in Zimbabwe, in Mozambique, Angola, the children were educated? They didn't have no building. They didn't have to spend $1 million. They just had the willingness to educate their youth to our way of doing things and make them scientific without losing humanism. Our healthcare, communications, culture, and military. We need a military. When Simi Valley went down, on Rodney King, we didn't need to send women and children in the street. Just send a few brothers and sisters, ping, bang, pong, a couple of them jurists, and just get on radio and say, this is the voice of revolution, we just pop your boy. They would be more scared of that than us running out in the street. Always stay under control. You look them in their eye and stay under control. They can't stand it. They can't, don't eyeball me, boy. Boy, party time. Party time. We know a lot of these things. A lot of these things will just remind us to you. We have to understand the mass media's hold on our people. It's a dynamic hold. It's a mesmerizing hold. Black men, in general, have a macho man, and delivered unto them a macho man ideology. Our women is delivered a soap opera queens. See what they did with Clarence Thomas? They made a soap opera. And people are turning in, did he squeeze the Charmin or didn't he? I wonder if he squeezed that Charmin. I don't know, that just looks something to me. While white people were discussing it as a power play to get a trilateral commission flunky on the Supreme Court. See, we're looking at the same program, but because we don't know what's happening, we're looking at the wrong thing. We didn't know that both Anita and him are down with them. So it wasn't an issue at all that we should have been concerned with. You know what I'm saying? So it's important that we understand and we share things. You know, we've got to control the hood. The hood must be controlled. The hood is nothing but the village. One thing that's going to hurt white supremacy more than anything is integration. Because you're everywhere, you're up underneath them. When the call of arms come, they can't just zero in on you on some reservations and roll. Therefore, they had to come on a higher form of killing and cracking AIDS. They want to find out what triggers sickle cell anemia so they can put it in the water so that you can get it and they won't. While they're working on sickle cell, we should be working on Tay-Sachs. Knock off some Jews. We got some brilliant people, but they don't serve the African race. More people are coming to the party every day. Party's getting fat, it's getting big, and we're looking good. However, we have to grow faster because our casualties are awesome. There is nothing happening to us anywhere in the world we can't stop. Once you return to the source and find out where you came from, which you obviously do, and begin to move back, and then adapt what you had yesterday to contemporary society. Okay? So I like to say in closing is that the reason that our people do not see the Black Holocaust is because of culture banditry. It's because as long as we function as they want us to function, think as they want us to think, and they do that by manufacturing unto us no information whatsoever. None. Let me give you an example. Now yesterday, O.J. Simpson was hauling ass down the highway. It was sad. Think about it now. Trapped rat. Think about how they used that. The biggest and greatest among you cannot get away from white power. We're in helicopters, we're in this, the same way they used the move bombing. We'll burn down your whole neighborhood and roast your children. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? See Rodney King? Give him some money, send him home. What you gonna do? The challenge is for us not to get emotional and lose our head, to deal with them African style. We have to be patient. You know we come from a philosophy that whatever goes around comes around. But we got to make it come around. People don't repeat history. I mean, history don't repeat itself. People repeat history. And by not learning the lessons of what they would do, first of all, we must let go. When I say that, I'm talking about our people in general, that white people are redeemable. They have no conscience, no heart, no soul, no God. They are the devil themselves, except for the devil had superpowers, they got none. See? That's why I don't like calling them devils. Devils was next to God, right? He could do some things. They can't do nothing that we can't stop. Once we become African-centered, loving one another is easy thing to say. You know, we say love each other, we say peace. Peace is the maintenance of status quo. We're not for peace, we're for war. We have the answer to all of your hang-ups, and we shall tell you, war, war, war. Thank you. Y'all want to do some Q&As? Okay. Y'all want to do some Q&A so y'all maybe can teach me some things?
Just we're going to do the Q&As.
Okay. 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 Anybody got any questions, comments, vibes? Yes.
I have a question concerning the King Alfred plan. Can you elaborate a little bit on the King Alfred?
Yeah, the King Alfred plan was developed. They had a plan on how to scoop up black people, especially the important leadership, and incarcerate them in facilities all over the country. Again, to move on you and take you away and then roll on the rest of the community. You know, that's always been a plan. The King Alfred is obsolete. It's now Rex 84. Redeveloped in 1984. Now, we didn't know it was redone because we knew about the King Alfred in the 60s until the Contra hearings when Oliver North said he was charged to redo the King Alfred plan in the Rex 84. And they upgraded it. He gave this testimony on television during the Contra hearings. So it's a plan to scoop us up, put us in concentration camps, and, you know, like give us gas showers. Now listen to me now. It's important to understand that you understand the census. I have, nor have any of my family, ever been counted on census. And they've been telling you for years it's 20 million black folks, 25 million in there, when there's almost 100 million, okay? And you know how they confirmed that? They said, dang, how are we gonna get, since they got our names, how will we know them from us? They said, well, we'll make them put their picture on their driver's license. That's why they did that. And you put your picture on the driver's license, nigga. Ha, 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 ha. So it occurred to them that we can't manage all these people. We may want to scoop them up and put them on concentration camp. First of all, they're not European Jews. You can't tell a brother, go pick up your mom and take her over to the concentration camp. We're going to give her a shower. You say, yeah, all right. I don't care if he's a crazy cop. You know, if you see a football game and you see a lineman, blood running down his face, take off his helmet and look up at the camera, what's the first thing he say? Hi, Mom. We are not them, you know, and our young people looking for a rumble. They're looking around every corner. So King Alfred plan is only can be effectively used when they decrease your numbers through crack and age and imprisonment. When they neutralize you with all sorts of invasion of the body snatchers tools. But it's a plan, you know. We used to joke and say, Dell, where they taking you? We say, Allenwood, Pennsylvania. You know you're going to Allenwood, you know. We knew it, you know. But upon further analysis, for example, they do a lot of things. They operate out of think tanks. Okay? In the think tank, they came up with this one. David Rockefeller, right? Said, I want you to find out how we're going to bring about a new world order. Okay? Wow, all you have to do, Dave, boss, is drop the Berlin Wall and reunite Germany, okay? Have Russia come to the party and drop communism, okay? And then we'll all then have Western Europe come under one flag and one currency. And we have a new world order, okay? That sounds good on paper. They rumbling all up in the Soviet Union because white people ain't nothing but a bunch of tribes. We don't realize they're a bunch of wild tribes, uncivilized and socially backwards, decadent and barbaric. They are now, they always were, they have 100 years war, they fight each other. For example, let's look at the American Revolution through African eyes. England said, why don't y'all go to the new land and colonize it? We're gonna let you white prostitutes out of the houses of prostitution. We're gonna let you thieves and bandits and rogues and the insane, and we want you to go to this place and we're gonna call it the colonies. All we want from you is send us back a little taxes. You know? We'll set you out of the dungeon. They had some dungeons. They used to put people on racks and torture them. They had bedlam for the insane. They used to bleed people, let the blood out, and say, I'll let all the bad blood out. That's how George Washington died. They said, we're going to let the bad blood out. George said, you know what you're doing? Yeah. Be cool, George. No, let's play it. How much you going to let out? Oh, about 6 quarts. George dead. Okay. But the vibe is, this is how they tell history. This is why African Senate is important. What they did is let the insane, the prostitutes, the thugs, the murderers out of jail and have them colonized here, which was the proper people to slaughter red people. Okay? So they did that. So, Mother England, whose empire was so vast, the sun never set on it, said, all right, how about my taxes? Taxes? Just like thugs, murders, and prostitutes, I ain't giving you nothing. Now this is the Revolutionary War that they say is so great. I ain't giving you up. They said, but wait a minute, didn't I let you out of jail? Didn't I pay your way over here? Didn't I stake you? I ain't giving you nothing. Let's rumble. And then they say, oh, these 13 colonies, we can't beat her by ourselves. Let's get together. Right? You'll never hear that in a classroom. That should be taught in the African classroom of European behavior, tribalism. Who is the most violent tribes? Remember the Vandals? The Germanic tribes. They were giving you World War I and World War II. And what were they fighting over? Their share of the colonies. They said, no, we want a few more of them African colonies now. Matter of fact, we're going to colonize all of y'all. We the Aryans. You know, we got blue eyes. Think about it. This is tribalism. They said, come on, man, we got a good thing going. We got all the niggas' money. We got the red man's money. We're getting into China. We're kicking Japan's butt. We got a good thing going. We want it all. We're the best of the white. Now, now they talk about your ethnicity. Never theirs. They're barbaric. And they rumbled in World War I. Millions of people died. And got the nerve to tell us about black on black crime. Do you know they killed 20 million Russians on the Russian front? 20 million. And they was talking about these 6 million Anne Frank and the girls. You know what I mean? And he said, oh, I remember when we was in school. Now think about it. Then they control the mass media to make you believe what they want you to believe. Look, they taught us what they used to do with us. We used to read, I forgot the name, the Diary of Anne Frank. And we'd be in class. Now here we coming out of vicious slavery, barbarism, civilizations torn apart, mothers and fathers raped and killed and murdered and slaughtered. We don't have our name, our land, our labor, our culture. We don't have anything. And we sit there in the classroom crying over some European Jews. It's amazing. When you think about it, you say they good. Never underestimate your enemy. Say you good. You good, Pope, but the game's over. Game's over, you know. He's sitting in class. So when they say, what are we going to do with the new batch? Anne Frank ain't going to get it. Swindler's List. And have you cry, man, Spike Lee's, Spook Lee. He'll get some respect when they do something. Spook Lee, Singleton, and all of them won't touch our story. All they give us is the horrors of the hood. I guess it's horrible to live in the hood. I had an African friend come to the country and say, Dell, I've been here 2 years. I ain't seen a car chase yet. I said, well, I ain't never seen one. He said, well, that's television. That's a movie, boy. You know? He said, y'all ain't living like it. That's ebony. That's jet. No, we ain't living large. Some of us are. We're going to make it that all of us are. So their ethnicity, their tribalism, their barbarism is never seen. Crows, they're doing the same thing on Bosnia and all up in there that they're doing in Rwanda. You see what I mean? And perpetrated by them. So it's amazing that we see that the King Alfred, and they got a lot of plans. They said they want 2.7 billion people of colors dead by the year 2000. Now they might have made it if it wasn't for the Black Books Revolution. Let me tell you, we bad. We seized the industry. We control the distribution, the printing, the writers. I couldn't imagine myself going to a Jewish publisher talking about, I wrote a book. So yeah? Oh no, this won't do. Change it. I'll give you 6 cents a book. Change a few more of those other things, and the book ain't worth nothing. We seized it now. It's important that we seize the film industry. During the Harlem Renaissance and during segregation in the South, we controlled our own movie theaters. And we had our own movies about us. Okay? But as long as Spike and them and Eddie and them deal with Warner Brothers, Warner Communications, and all these people, you'll never have nothing. So don't look for them to do it. We look for Holly Jarima and people like that to do it. Because Holly's always been cool. I don't know whether you heard of his new film, Sankofa. Yeah. Okay? Sankofa is bad. So that then you tell our story, you know, on film, with cast of thousands, right? Talking about our ancient land. Talking about Hatshepsut. Talking about Imhotep. We got a story that we could tell forever. We got so many heroes and sheroes, we ought to be telling them forever. Now, to seize that industry, now I'm a writer, so this is the film industry. We're involved with trying to, and don't think they didn't counterattack the Black Books Revolution. And you'd be shocked if I told you how many people done sold out to them Jews.
Tell us some of them.
You'd be shocked.
Tell us some of them.
You'd be shocked. Okay? No, I don't want to shock you. You know why? Because if I shock you, then I can't man the fences. If I thought these people were written off and we could never get them back, like Jesse and them, then you sound them. But if somebody make business deals and you go back and say, hey, brother, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? They're cutting into the movement. So in film, nowadays, film isn't a big theater. Film is a room, or 3 rooms, divided with chairs and a screen. It's no longer a theater, a magnificent $1 million theater. It's like almost an aircraft hangar, divided in 3 parts with a screen throwing 3 different movies at the same. We can't do that. We can't get a building and put 3 theaters in there. Then control the distribution when you control the screens. As long as you don't have the screens, you can't control the distribution. You see what I mean? So then you build the industry. The artisans, like in the Black Books Revolutions, must be willing to feel the pain to build the industry. You know? I feel that pain every time I go kapunkity whoosh down the street in my 1978 Nova. And I ain't talking about the ones them G-boys got in California that pop up and down. Mine may pop up, but that's if the key turns. But you got to be willing to do that because you're part of history of building something and institutionalizing it forever. Everything we should do now is forever. Each school, each temple is forever. Is this temple forever? U.S.A. is forever. So then you're part of a righteous movement. You see what I mean? But they won't do it in records. You know, our young people haven't gotten the credit. And we were missed in our duties. They came up with a counter weapon called hip-hop that knocked white people to their knees. When they came up with hip-hop music, it was in response to disco. Disco was a music of the culture bandits developed to take away the threatening bass and complicated rhythms and make them simplistic and put heavy European orchestration on top of it. It's an ugly, synthetic, bastard-like music. Okay, it's really a businessman designed to increase the demographics so you can sell more records and kill a culture at the same time. Donna Summers was the queen of disco. She was married to a German and used the all-German orchestra to play that crap. Okay? This is the culture bandits, all right? And they moved in, and all you could... I never dreamed I would live to see the day to go out to hear some music. You go out and hear somebody play records. Records? That slaughtered the musicianship and musicians. So much so that when the young people came to deal with music, they sampled. Because we hadn't created no music. Okay, not enough young people were going to be musicians. They wanted to be DJs. See what I'm saying? So what happened, the backlash is when they heard the music, the young people say, I want to make a record myself, man. I want to jam. I got these lines, I want to talk about my suffering, my pains, my aspirations, and even my simpleness. I have a right, but nobody will make this record. And all I got is this broken turntable. And these suckers don't play the right speed. Speed. And invented culture and got no credit whatsoever. That's right. Got dissed. Right? Then he said, I want to read some lines about my aspiration. I got some poetry in there. That's what it is. I got some poetry. They said, yeah, but we ain't got no musician. I tell you what, why don't you go? And we said, shut that noise up. And they invented culture out of nothing. Billions of dollars are worth of culture. Billions. We didn't defend it. We didn't protect it. I'm listening to Luther. He's singing for only one night. Turn that noise down. And the young people in there inventing a whole new culture. White people tried to stop it. They said black English ain't no good. It's backwards. There's no such thing as black English. The only part of English that's legit is black English. No matter what we say, they take it and run with it. If I say this, they say this. If the young people say cool was nice, but white people say that, so we're gonna chill. And we changed the language that came from slavery. We could talk in front of the slave master, he won't know what you said. And you get ready, go upside his head. You see? So they invented culture, billions of dollars of culture. They tried to stop it. They say it's backwards, it's noise, it's this, and we start repeating what they said. Meanwhile, they say, have you noticed everybody in the world's reaction to hip hop? Man, we could sell some Frosted Flakes with that. You know? We can sell McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. We can sell everything with that. Yay, hip-hop. But first, we must take away its liberating elements. We got to take Public Enemy out, and we got to replace him with Hammer. Because Hammer's hair done, and he's stupid. Right? We got to take KRS-One and replace him with Kid and Play. Could you imagine two black men walking and say, what's your name? Kid. What's your name? Play. They say, well, go play, and I ain't kidding. Young black man, Kid and Play. Snoop Doggy Dog. Named after Snoopy of Peanuts. Snoop, then you expect him to say something intelligent? What's your name? Snoop Doggy Dog. Go on, Holmes. Yeah, poor young man don't know what what a man is. Never been through a rites of passage. Don't have no kind of concept with them, because they want to be men. That's why he said, I'm G-Funk, man, and I'm this. Man, that ain't a man, little boy, but it ain't your fault. We have to bear that. We can't look at the young people and say, your fault for messing up. He said, why you, like I heard a lady talking to her children, what's the matter with you, girl? She, I don't know. Don't you know? You raised me. And I said, whoa, what a question. Say, what's wrong with you? I don't know. Why do you do the thing? I don't know. We got to let them know why they do the things, that they're set up to do the things. If you watch Freddy Krueger and you watch Predator, a monster with dreadlocks. If you watch Alien, you say, black man with a tail. If you watch all of these things, how could you have a positive image of yourself? And being a dog would be better than being one of those old Africans, talking that black stuff. I always ask people, what kind of stuff are we supposed to talk? We're talking black stuff. Okay, I give you. I do talk black stuff. But what should I talk? Irish stuff? Well, I mean, I don't understand you. So the young people, now that's $1 billion industry. Now, a missing point is that music sold without airplay. I'm an old record producer. You cannot sell records without airplay in America. That was the only records that sold underground. And because they taught us to dislike it and not defend it, then the business corporate people moved in, control the industry, and took away the liberating elements and give you so-called gangster music. It's the repeating of reggae. They had to kill Bob Marley, instant cancer, add water and stir. They had to blow out Peter Tosh's brain to change roots music to dance hall. And what was liberating from the hills of Jamaica now have Jamaican women grinding and putting their butt up there in front of the whole world. That's the mismanagement of culture. They know what it is. They take it, they package it, they destroy it, repackage it, and sell it. And what used to hurt them helps them, because now you got women all down in and butterfly dances and people feeling on themselves like Michael Jackson. And I don't even want to get into him. This is supposed to be question and answer, and I'm talking too much. Yes?
I would like to hear your opinion about the socialized medicine that they're trying to pass and the dangers that it reflects on us black people.
Well, socialized medicine, it's an interesting trick. First of all, they're not socialists. I don't know how they're going to socialize anything. Second of all, if anybody says the enemy's witch doctor is going to heal me, I ain't going for it. Second of all, they then could control the medicine that's going in your veins to increase the invasion of the body snatchers. Okay? And black people ain't the first people. White people have won hundreds of millions of dollars of suits of vaccinations that have killed and maimed their children. But now they can put things in vaccination. For example, the World Health Organization said it was eradicating the world for smallpox, sprayed AIDS all over Africa. And they admitted and said, well, I don't know how AIDS virus got in our smallpox virus. Come on, man. The World Health Organization. So their approach to medicine is backwards. You know, their approach to medicine has no prevention in it. It's a money-making industry. You get sick, I get paid. You know? So, no, what they want to do is get us firmer in their grip. And they have contradictions in this society. I know I'm always saying they, and speakers are always saying they, but they're not monolithic. They have all sorts of contradictions. You got the New World Order fighting the Roches and Scientology, and you got old money of the Eastern establishment of Rockefeller fighting new Western money. So they have contradictions like we have contradictions. The only difference, they understand our contradictions and they move against it. Socialized medicine is the only way to control you. It's amazing how they can say socialized medicine at the same time we're going to dismantle the welfare system. There's contradiction in that, you know? Anybody else? Yeah, bro.
I have a question regarding the continent of Africa. Like you mentioned that in the speech, you mentioned that we have people like Louis Sullivan going over to Africa, but representing the white establishment, GM and the others. But they go to Africa saying they've come to help their brothers over in Africa. Now, perspective, it's very difficult for the African leader who is neo-colonized, who has been neo-colonized, to understand that. So what do you think has to be done or can be done to educate the African leader to understand and realize what people like that are doing? Because I believe it's further destroying the continent.
Yeah.
So what is your thoughts, or what is your solution?
Well, the neo-colonial leader has no interest in his people whatsoever. Whether it's Samuel Doe, whether it's Prince Johnson, whether it's Mobutu, whether it's the military, and see, the removal of those people would then maybe put in people, or he'll have to put in people, or a system that has the needs and the benefit of people at heart. So otherwise, Africa actually doesn't have any. They had to do a thing on 60 Minutes on Mobutu, who happened to be about the richest man in the world, right? In the poorest country in the world. So no matter what he say, when General Motors come and say we're gonna build it, go ahead. Just kick over $25 million. He's a billionaire, and I'll keep 19, and I'll pay the army the rest of it. Mobutu hasn't even paid his teachers in 5 years. So his interests of the neo-colonialists are not there. There was a time in the 60s when we had the Nkrumahs and those brilliant, dynamic people in there. We didn't listen. We didn't bring about Pan-Africanism. Now let's talk about Pan-Africanism. That's where your answer lies. Pan-African, I don't know why people have a big difficulty with that. Meaning Africans home and abroad shall control their own destiny, their land, their space, okay? And control Africa. When I did the 13 colonies, they sat down and said, you know something, we're not going to be safe. We won't have the resources of this land until we kill everybody and take the land from the Atlantic to the Pacific and become the United States of America. And therein lies it, because they had separate state rights. When we say there is no way any African country can sustain itself, no matter how rich, because it doesn't have everything it needs. But as a continent, it doesn't need to trade with anybody. For example, Somalia, if people are starving, all you need is trucks from Congo, where the food is plenty, to Somalia. But since that's not a united African problem, and the OAU was a compromise of Nkrumah's United States of Africa, those problems aren't solved, and the results is death. A simple thing like, all right, so South Africa, gold, diamonds, blah, 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 blah. Other places have other minerals. You wouldn't have to trade with anybody. Now, you also have some very intelligent, dynamic people working to build Africa from the ground up, both professional and grassroots. You have some of the most dynamic people involved from anything from the space thing to agriculture. In the United States, you could build Africa into the greatest world power the world has ever seen. On top of that, you're the most dynamic fighting machine. You only need a will to end the pain, to end the dying. You know, we sit back helplessly. Bill Gray and them, Bill Gray works for the Trilateral Commission. That's why they say, take Haiti, for instance. They say they're going to bring back Aristide. Aristide is a preacher. So even if you get your will, he still is in America, owing America for installing him. And the people continue to die and suffer. Okay? So the answer is us coming together as a people. First on local level, solving local problems like villages. Then into regions. Then interface, problem solve. The first thing you do is start solving solvable problems. To bring up feeding people is a solvable problem. I refuse to believe we can't feed people. You know, I refuse to believe we can't go to the docks. I refuse to believe if we got the boat rolling, you can't force people on certain positions who may, see, I don't want to lead people wrong. There are three kinds of people. There are people who are African-centered or moving toward African-centeredness. I don't call it African-centricity. I call it Pan-Africanism, as it's always been called. I don't like new terms. They confuse people. People say, I made up a term. Afro-American. Afro-American? What's an African-American? African belonging to America. In African. You know what I'm saying? So, if you look at it, and you see what's going down all over the globe, you try to say, how do we solve problems locally first? I don't want to get overwhelmed. Can we feed people? Are there boarded up places that community organizations can seize from HUD and everybody else? Yes. Has it ever been historically done before? Yes. Did the Black Panthers and did some of the mosques and did some of the African groups, cultural groups, feed people in the 60s and 70s? Yes. Did they have matter of fact, we came up with the idea for breakfast programs and lunch programs. And what the cops used to do is take and put the food in a van and let it go bad. Then they took the Department of Agriculture and the government bought their own surplus from their own farmers and fed us their garbage. They destroyed what you build because the key, you always owe that person who feeds you. You'll always love the person that feeds you. That's why there's a welfare state. They say they're going to take away welfare. Take it away. Take it away. Because they know if I give you just enough, you can live for another day and dream about hitting the lottery. Anybody else? Yes.
Could you discuss our move to a service economy as this country goes from manufacturing to service economies, and how the urban pockets economically are starved, and how that really impacts African American males and
Yeah.
thus the family?
Yeah. Not only that, the white middle class is hurting. See, this is hurting them. That's what was funny when I went to AT&T, had 75 white people there, and I scared them to death. Because in the 60s and 70s, we used to call them runaway shops, where they would take their manufacturing into Latin America, Haiti, Chile, Seoul, Korea, Hong Kong, to cheaply manufacture goods. Now, when you do it that way, you don't have to pay the high wage labor in the United States, you don't have to pay the health and welfare package, and you don't have to pay retirement. You pay these people $2 an hour and you get your products. So they then said, because they see the world as a new world order that they control, the United States is no longer a country. They say, in this area, we'll move to the service economy and do the manufacturing where it's cheaper. Well, who hurts more is the white middle class worker. Because they say, oh, every treaty that Clinton has signed has destroyed them. And they beginning to know it. When we said runaway shots, how y'all talking that communism? I ain't never talked no communism. I'm an African communist. See how the imitator will take your stuff and then turn around and tell you, you copying him. He'll call it dialectics instead of the African laws of opposites. You see, the communists say, well, that's dialectics. It's the African laws of opposites. It's on the pyramids, up in cold, black and white. But what it does, they're changing the whole configuration of the world and using large, cheap labor pools. So they have to do that outside of the country because these countries don't even have minimum wage laws most of the time. So it hurts them. It doesn't hurt us as much if we know what time it is and start going into business in ourselves. Because every dollar I make, every pair of shoes, every piece of meat, every piece of vegetable, anything that I get in my house come from black people. And I had a feeling that if you can't make a living off black people, you don't deserve to live. You see? So that everything, once we start building our economy infrastructure to supply the shoes and go into the marketing and do the hard jobs, and a lot of young people are doing that. Wall Street Journal had an article where black executives of Fortune 500 companies were leaving for their own businesses, even though they're making $40 and $50 less, saying they're more culturally comfortable and that the sky's the limit. Because when you're on salary, I don't care what the salary is, it's fixed income. You see? So that whole economy changed. The trick in that is that Japan, they play a game with Japan as a colony of the United States. And every corporation Japan has is owned by a major white corporation. All the banking is controlled by the Illuminati and the rest of them. You see what I'm saying? So once we learn to tell you the truth, black people are doing more sophisticated study than anybody on the face of the earth. You're studying the secret orders, because we no longer, see, Jesse Jackson and them are still functioning on Democrat and Republican. Instead of Illuminati, Rothschilds, Skull and Bones, Cleverone, the real power core. So how could you move on them if you think the George Bush was funny? Now, you want to see a tug of war internationally in Korea? Jimmy Carter, who is a trilateral commission, is over there speaking over the president. Tell him don't worry about a thing till they corner Jimmy Carter, what's his name? Wild Bill Clinton. Wild Bill say, well, I make policy. See, they get caught in the contradiction if you know what to look at. Carter's over there because he was a trilateral commission president like Bush. There's been two. Now, Clinton is a Rhodes Scholar, not a redneck. He's tied to Eastern establishment money of David Rockefeller of the New World Order, trilateralism. But he got caught in contradiction. David Rockefeller told Carter to do this. And when he did it, the president of the United States, who's just a front man, said, wait a minute, I be's president. You know, that happened before in Japan. Remember when Bush was over there and started talking for himself instead of the New World Order, and they poisoned him and he fell under the table? And they said, oh, he got a cold. I had a cold. I didn't fell under the table like that. And you've never seen the film Barbara Bush was saying, I told you, George. You know, an ugly self. You know? And George laid on the table and he got his program together. Okay? You know, these are people who shoot the Pope. Shoot presidents. You know, so we have to be we're learning the real deal of what is the power control of this world. And once you do that, you can start dismantling it because you know where it is and how it functions. Anybody else? I think I'm over my time. Last one? Anybody? Then I'll summarize by saying, again, to be redundant, it's through the colonial mentality and culture banditry that we don't see the Black Holocaust or any of the aggression against us. It makes us blame ourselves. But once we start to like in Culture Bandit 2, in Culture Bandit 1, in Culture Bandit 2 I break down films and video, and I also have a tape with me called Michael Jackson in the New World Order. The biggest chapter in my book is Michael Jackson in the New World Order. See, and if you don't believe in that book, go look at, don't buy it. Go to the record store and see Michael Jackson's album cover called Dangerous, with all the demonic signals and the secret order symbols all over the cover. And all you see is Michael is his eyes looking through. I'm talking about Skull and Bones. They got all the imagery that are their signs of devil worship and for control of the world. It's a privilege to be African, but Africans must unite. Thank you. Hey man, how you doing?
First, I want to thank Del Jones for coming down and speaking to all of us here at my temple. From time to time, my temple tries to bring lecturers to come into the Wilmington area, try to advertise, get the message out. We want to thank Gloria back there for advertising this day on the Givers Level Radio, and all the others who put out flyers in Chester and in Philadelphia and here in Wilmington. Here at my temple, we try to teach West African culture, not only West African culture, but African culture. We try to teach our culture here. We are of no European religion here. We teach culture, we teach Pan-Africanism. We also here, we are affiliated with U.S.A. U.S.A. is a school run by Sister Sheila here. She runs the school. She teaches young children from, I think, kindergarten up to 6th grade, 6th grade. So we're on the move here at the Maya Temple. We ask that you come, you visit. We just don't play drums and sing songs here. We teach about our culture, religions, our culture, spirituality. We preach about ourselves as African people. So we invite you to come here on Sundays at 11:30 to sit down and see what the Maya Temple is all about. And we would ask at this time if Dell Jones would please do us a favor and come back again.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you.
I would like to just inform folks here that my brother Dell has been under the weather for some time. And any lesser person would have counseled. I'm serious. And I think we need to give him another applause for keeping his word.
One other announcement, there's a brother downstairs, Brother Paul. He has the audio of this lecture. He has it on sale right now, along with some other audio lectures in the basement. You can go down, you can purchase some of them today. Also, understand that you can buy your books from U.S.A bookstore.
We have them with us.
Oh, okay, and he has the books here.
Books and tapes.
You can also come to the African Emporium and purchase Dell's books.
Speaking of books, I was wondering, and I'm sure that a lot of other people are wondering as well. I see some people have their books with them, and they would like for you to autograph
Book signing.
their
It would be a
book.
pleasure.
Okay.
All right.
Where would you like to get set up in? I don't want to-
All right, I'll put this table up on the
Okay,
books.
good.
You can sit right over there and sign people's books for them. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
So feel free to move around upstairs or downstairs if you like.